Hey Reddit, I'm Alex, and I just turned 21. You'd think that would be a big deal, right? A milestone birthday. Maybe a small dinner, a cake, at least a happy birthday text from my parents. But nope. My family had more important plans. I wish I could say I was shocked, but honestly, this is just how it's always been. My parents have made it clear since childhood that I'm second place in this family. My younger sister, Emma, is the golden child. If she wants something, she gets it. If she needs attention, she gets it. And if I want anything that even slightly inconveniences them, too bad. Still, I held on to this tiny sliver of hope that this year would be different. I don't live at home anymore, so I don't deal with their favoritism as often. But I thought surely on my 21st birthday, they'd want to celebrate both their kids, right? I texted the family group chat that morning. Hey, what time are we meeting for dinner? No response. Hours passed. I went about my day, expecting someone to text back. By 3 p.m., I started getting this sinking feeling. I finally gave in and called my mom. She picked up on the second ring, her voice casual. Hey, Alex. What's up? I hesitated. We're still doing dinner, right? Silence. Then a sigh. Oh, honey, she said, way too sweetly. I should have told you earlier. We're going out tonight with Emma. My stomach dropped. You're, what? She sounded almost bored. Emma has some exciting news, so we're taking her out to celebrate. I blinked. It's my birthday. She laughed, like I was a little kid whining about losing a toy. Oh, Alex, don't be so dramatic. We'll do something for you next weekend, okay? In the background, I heard Emma's voice. Is that Alex? Tell him we'll save him some leftovers. More laughter. I felt my face heat up. This wasn't just neglect. This was deliberate. I could have argued. I could have yelled. But what was the point? They knew what they were doing. They just didn't care. So I swallowed the lump in my throat and said, yeah, sure. Have fun. And then I hung up. I sat there for a moment, staring at my phone. My hands were shaking. Not from sadness. No, I was pissed. Then I had an idea. I called my girlfriend, Lily. Hey, I said, keeping my voice even. Want to go out for dinner tonight? She could tell something was up immediately. Of course. What's wrong? I told her everything. She didn't even hesitate. Come over. My parents will want to celebrate with you, too. Now, I love Lily's parents. They've always treated me with more kindness in the past 3 years than my own parents have my whole life. And when I got to their house, her mom greeted me with a hug. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Come in. We're going somewhere nice. We ended up at this high-end steakhouse, the kind of place my parents love to brag about going to. The whole night was perfect. Lily's dad even ordered a bottle of champagne to celebrate me turning 21. And for the first time that day, I actually felt wanted. But the real fun? That happened when I posted about it. After dinner, I took a picture of the restaurant entrance and posted it on Instagram with the caption, "Huge thank you to my girlfriend and her amazing family for making my birthday special. So grateful to have people who actually care about me." I wasn't expecting a response from my parents. I figured they wouldn't even see it until the next day. But less than an hour later, my phone started blowing up. First, a text from my mom. Mom, what is this post, Alex? Then my dad. Dad, are you serious right now? Then, a full-on phone call. I let it ring, smirking to myself. Then another. Then another. They were fuming. And I knew exactly why. It wasn't guilt. It wasn't regret. It was jealousy. They were the ones who were supposed to be seen as the good parents. They loved playing the role of the perfect family, posting online about their fancy dinners and how proud they were of Emma. But suddenly, I was the one getting attention for being wronged. And they hated that. I finally picked up on the fourth call, keeping my voice casual. Oh, hey mom. What's up? She went off. What the hell are you doing, Alex? People are seeing this. You're making us look bad. I held back a laugh. I'm just thanking the people who actually showed up for my birthday. She gasped, like I had stabbed her. How dare you try to embarrass us like this? You know we would have celebrated with you if we didn't have prior commitments. I snorted. Oh, right? Emma's exciting news. We raised you, Alex, she snapped. And this is how you repay us? By making us look like bad parents? I was done. So done. I took a deep breath and said, if you didn't want to look like bad parents, you probably shouldn't have acted like bad parents. Silence. Then my dad got on the phone. You need to take that post down. Now. I grinned. No, Alex. His voice was low, threatening. If you don't take it down, there will be consequences. I leaned back in my chair. Oh? Like what? He didn't answer right away. I could hear my mom whispering furiously in the background. Then he said, "We're coming over." And that, Reddit, is where things got really interesting. I leaned forward, gripping my phone as my dad's words echoed in my ear. "We're coming over." A rush of adrenaline shot through me, but I kept my voice steady. "All right," I said, barely able to contain my smirk. "See you soon." Then I hung up. Lily, who had been sitting next to me on the couch, raised an eyebrow. "That was your parents, wasn't it?" "Oh yeah," I said, shaking my head. "They're pissed. Apparently, I've embarrassed them." Lily rolled her eyes. God forbid they deal with the consequences of their own actions. Her dad, who had been listening from across the room, scoffed. "Let them come. They should see what an actual loving family looks like." Her mom, ever the voice of reason, sighed. "This might get ugly. Are you sure you want to deal with them tonight?" I exhaled slowly. "Honestly, yeah, I do. I'd spent years letting them treat me like an afterthought. Years of watching them drop everything for Emma while I was expected to just deal with it. And for the first time, I had the upper hand. They were desperate, scrambling to control the narrative. That meant I was finally doing something right. About 20 minutes later, I heard the unmistakable sound of a car pulling into the driveway. I stood up, stretching like I had all the time in the world, while Lily gave me an encouraging squeeze on the arm. "You got this," she murmured. The doorbell rang. No slammed. 3, 4 times in rapid succession. "Oh, they're mad." Lily's dad chuckled and made his way toward the door. "I'll get it." The second he opened it, my mom stormed in like she owned the place. My dad followed, his jaw tight, his eyes immediately locking onto me. "Alex." My mom's voice was sharp, cutting through the air. "We need to talk. Now." I crossed my arms. "Go ahead." Her gaze flickered around the room, taking in Lily's parents, the cozy atmosphere, the clear evidence that I was fine, thriving, even without them. It clearly unsettled her. "Not here," she said stiffly. "Come outside." "No thanks," I said, leaning against the couch. "If you have something to say, you can say it right here." My dad clenched his fists. "Enough with the attitude, Alex." I raised an eyebrow. "Attitude? Oh, you mean standing up for myself?" "Sorry, I'm still getting used to this whole having self-respect thing." My mom let out a sharp breath, her patience wearing thin. "We are not going to let you publicly shame us like this. Do you have any idea how many people have seen your post? Your aunts, your uncles. Do you know how humiliating it is to have our own son paint us as villains?" I blinked at her, then deadpanned. "Maybe don't be villains then?" Lily snorted, and even her dad fought back a chuckle. My mom's face turned red. "We are your parents, Alex. We deserve some respect." "Oh, respect? You mean like the respect you showed me when you ditched me on my birthday? Or when you laughed at me on the phone? Or when you made it abundantly clear that Emma will always come first?" I shook my head. "Sorry, I must have missed the part where you actually earn my respect." My dad took a step forward, his voice low. "You're being dramatic." "No, I'm finally being honest," I shot back. The tension in the room was thick. My parents weren't used to this. They were used to me backing down, apologizing, folding. But not this time. Then my mom's gaze landed on Lily. More specifically, the way she was sitting so comfortably beside me, holding my hand like she belonged in my life. And that's when I saw it. The moment my mom realized that I had people now. People who weren't obligated to love me, but did anyway. People who saw my worth, something she never cared to do. And she hated it. "So this is what this is about," she said, voice dripping with condescension. "You're trying to replace us with them." Lily stiffened beside me, but I just shrugged. "If the shoe fits." My dad scoffed. "Enough of this nonsense. You're taking that post down. Now." I grinned. No, his nostrils flared. "Alex, don't test me." "Or what?" I challenged. "What exactly are you going to do? Ground me? Take away my phone?" "Oh wait, you can't, because I don't live under your roof anymore. You have zero control over me." That hit a nerve. My dad's face turned an ugly shade of red, and for a second, I thought he was actually going to lose it. My mom, on the other hand, had gone eerily quiet, and that's when she played her trump card. "You're going to regret this, Alex," she said softly. "You don't realize what you're throwing away." I tilted my head. "What am I throwing away exactly?" She gave me a knowing look, a look that sent a cold chill down my spine. And then she said, Your inheritance. I couldn't help it. I actually laughed in her face. It was almost instinctual, like a reflex I couldn't hold back. I looked at my mom, eyes narrowing, and let out a short, bitter laugh. Inheritance. I echoed, still chuckling. What inheritance? You think I need your money? You really don't get it, do you? She froze, clearly thrown off by my reaction. I leaned forward, crossing my arms. You've never done anything for me. You've made it clear every chance you've gotten that I'm not important enough for your time, your energy, or your love. So spare me the lecture about what I'm throwing away, because guess what? You've got nothing left to give me. My mom's mouth opened and closed like a fish, her face twisted in a mix of confusion and anger. And if you think I'd ever accept anything from you after all this, you're delusional, I continued, shaking my head. I don't need your money. I don't need your fake love. You've already given me everything I need to know about you. And it's nothing I'm willing to keep around. My dad looked like he was about to explode. He took a deep breath, his fist clenched at his sides. You're ungrateful. You really want to throw away everything we've given you. I almost felt sorry for him, but then I remembered he had a choice, too. He could have stood up for me, could have actually been a parent instead of a lapdog to my mom's whims. He never did. No, I'm not ungrateful, I said calmly, but I'm not going to sit here and pretend I don't see the kind of people you are. You made your choices. And now, I'm making mine. Lily's dad gave me a reassuring nod from across the room, his eyes full of quiet pride. I noticed my mom flinch at that, and I couldn't help but feel a small sense of triumph. She had been so consumed with controlling my life that she'd never even stopped to think that I might be better off without her. You can't just cut us out of your life like this, my mom said, her voice trembling now. We're your family. You'll regret this, Alex. You'll come crawling back. Right, I said sarcastically. I'll be right there, begging for more empty promises and disrespect. But that'll never happen, because guess what? You've already shown me who you really are. I stood up, my legs feeling surprisingly steady. And I'm done. So, if you want to keep throwing threats and guilt trips at me, go ahead. But just know, I'm not falling for it anymore. My dad opened his mouth again, but this time, he just snapped it shut. They had nothing left. The power they once held over me, the manipulation, the control, it was gone. My mom's eyes were practically burning with fury, but I didn't flinch. Instead, I turned to Lily's parents, giving them a nod of appreciation. Thanks for letting me have this moment, I said softly. But I think it's time for them to leave. Lily's mom, ever the calm one, smiled and stood up. We're going to grab a drink in the kitchen. You two should talk. As they walked away, my mom's voice shot through the silence. You're making a mistake, Alex. You'll see. I didn't even acknowledge her. I was done listening to their empty threats. I didn't need to say anything else. The silence between us was thick, suffocating, as my mom and dad stood there, still processing everything I'd just thrown at them. They had no idea what to do with me anymore. Their usual tactics, guilt, manipulation, the emotional blackmail they had always used to keep me under their thumb, weren't working. Not this time. I stood there, feeling more powerful than I ever had in my entire life. It wasn't just the fact that I was finally standing up to them. It was the realization that I no longer cared about their approval. Lily's parents stayed in the background, sensing the tension but giving us the space we needed. I could feel their support without it ever needing to be said. They weren't just on my side, they were family in a way that felt real. And for the first time, I didn't feel like I had to apologize for existing. Finally, my dad spoke again, his voice low and dangerous. You think this is funny? You think you're going to get away with treating us like this? I locked eyes with him, unfazed. Get away with it? Dad, I've been trying to get away from you for years. The words hung in the air, stark and painful. It was like a weight I'd been carrying for so long finally lifted off my chest. My mom, still fuming, tried one last tactic. Her voice softened, but it was clear she was just as manipulative as ever. Alex, we're your parents. We've always been here for you. All we've ever wanted was to help you. Don't you remember all we've done for you? How we've always supported you? I shook my head, trying not to laugh again. Really? Is that what you think? Because I don't remember any of it. I remember being ignored, pushed aside, made to feel like I wasn't good enough. I remember being the last choice. But sure, if you want to pretend that you've been perfect, go ahead. Her face twisted in a mixture of shock and fury, and I could see the cracks in her perfect little world start to form. She hadn't expected me to fight back like this. She thought I would fold, that I would cave in and beg for their approval like I always had. But that wasn't who I was anymore. This is your fault, Alex, my mom spat, her voice shaking. You're the one destroying this family. You think you can just replace us with them? I looked at her, my eyes cold. No, Mom. You've been replacing me my whole life. This is just me finally realizing I don't need you anymore. And you've already lost. She took a step forward, her eyes burning with rage. I'm your mother. You will never get rid of me. I held up my hand, cutting her off. I don't need to get rid of you. You've already done that to yourself. You've pushed me away for years. You've made it clear where your priorities lie, and I'm not on that list. Lily's dad stepped forward, his calm demeanor cutting through the tension. I think it's time for you two to leave. Now. His voice was steady, unshakable, and the finality in his tone made it clear there would be no more discussion. My mom stared at him, fury flashing in her eyes, but even she knew she was losing. My dad muttered something under his breath and started to walk toward the door, his shoulders tense, but he didn't say another word. They both walked out without another word, the door slamming behind them. I stood there, still processing everything that had just happened. It was surreal. Lily came over and wrapped her arms around me. You did it, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. You stood up for yourself. I'm so proud of you. I hugged her back, feeling a rush of relief wash over me. I don't even know how I did it. It's like they just, finally don't have any power over me anymore. Her mom and dad came over and gave me encouraging pats on the back, but it was Lily's words that really stuck with me. You're not alone anymore. We've got your back, always. The weight on my chest had finally lifted. For the first time, I could breathe without that constant pressure weighing me down. I could see a future where I didn't have to beg for scraps of love or attention. A future where I made my own choices, where I was in control. The whole night felt like a strange, surreal blur, but I knew one thing for sure. I had finally stood up for myself. And I wasn't going back. Hours passed, and the evening continued on in a strange kind of calm. The tension that had built up throughout the night seemed to have evaporated the moment my parents walked out the door. But that calmness didn't last long. Just as I started to relax, my phone buzzed. I glanced down at it, half expecting something mundane. But as I saw my mom's name flash across the screen, I could feel my blood pressure rise again. I didn't even want to look at it, but I did anyway. A text from her. We're not done here. You'll regret this. We'll be contacting the lawyer about your inheritance. You'll pay for this. I could almost hear her shrill, venomous voice in my head as I read the message. It wasn't a threat. It was a promise, and I knew it. But the difference now was that it didn't scare me anymore. It didn't hold the weight it once did. I glanced at Lily, who was sitting next to me, her parents giving us some space to just process the night. I showed her the message, and she let out a soft laugh. Is she serious? She asked, raising an eyebrow. Dead serious, I muttered, but there was no trace of fear in my voice. If anything, I was amused. I hit the reply button, my fingers typing with confidence, almost like the words were coming from a part of me I didn't even know existed. You're right. You won't be done here. But I'll tell you this, keep your money. You can keep your inheritance. And when you decide you want to talk to me like an adult, without the threats and the manipulation, you know where to find me. But don't bother trying anything else. It won't work. And if you think I'm scared, you've got another thing coming. I hit send, and the weight that had been on my shoulders for so long felt even lighter. It felt like I had closed a chapter of my life that had dragged on for way too long. Just as I put my phone down, it buzzed again. This time, it was my dad. He didn't even bother with a message, just a string of angry voice notes. I clicked on the first one, listening to him rant about how I was ruining my life, how I was going to regret this, how I was throwing everything away. I let the message finish, then clicked the next one. Another tirade. The same insults, the same empty threats. And then another. And another. They were getting more frantic, the desperation in his voice growing. But none of it hit home. I didn't even bother replying. I didn't need to. There was nothing left for me to say. Lily's dad caught my eye from across the room, raising his eyebrows with a knowing look. Everything okay? I nodded, my lips curling into a small but satisfied smile. Yeah, they're just not used to me standing up for myself. But they'll get over it. Lily leaned in closer, wrapping her arms around me again. You've got this. They can't touch you anymore. And that was the truth. I realized something then. There was nothing they could take from me that mattered. Not their threats, not their manipulations, not even their inheritance. I'd already walked away from their version of family and stepped into something real. My phone buzzed again, and I glanced down. This time, it was a text from my sister. Mom and Dad are furious with you. You really messed up this time. I could feel the old anger bubbling up again, but this time, I wasn't going to let it control me. I wasn't going to get sucked into her drama, her victim complex. I wasn't going to play her game. Instead of replying, I looked at Lily, smiling warmly. You know what? I said, standing up. I think it's time for a celebration. I'm done with all of this. I grabbed my jacket, turning to Lily's parents with a grin. Let's go grab some drinks. We've got a lot to celebrate. As we left, I didn't feel the bitterness or regret I had expected. Instead, I felt like I was finally walking away from a life that had been holding me back into a future that was mine to shape. And as I stepped out into the cool night air, I realized that the family I'd been searching for, the family I had been longing for, had been here all along. Not in the people I was born to, but in the ones who chose to stand by me, who supported me, who cared about me. I didn't need anyone's approval anymore. I didn't need their toxic love or their manipulation. I had found something better, and nothing, not even their money or their threats, could take that away from me. And that, for the first time in my life, felt like true freedom. So what do you think? Am I out of line for standing up to them? Or did I do the right thing?